Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. Today's topic is Google Nest Wi-Fi review. The Nest Wi-Fi is a follow-up product to the successful Google Wi-Fi mesh router system that the company released a few years back. The main value prop of the Nest Wi-Fi is that it will give you better Wi-Fi coverage in your home versus the setup that most people still seem to have, which is just one router in one point of their home. Using its mesh network setup, the Nest Wi-Fi system can expand to meet the needs of your individual home. Now we have had our system now for the past 6 months, and in that time I have grown to really like the Nest Wi-Fi system, its core features and its setup experience. Now there are some things that I don't like about the Nest Wi-Fi system, and I'll get into those a little bit later on in the video, but for now let's dive into the main components of the Nest Wi-Fi system. Now in our review of the Google Wi-Fi router, we had several comments from people asking if they still needed to pay for internet service when buying one of these router systems. Yes, you will still need to pay an internet service provider, otherwise none as an ISP money for your internet service in order to use the Nest Wi-Fi system. Now, here is in the US, Google does have an internet service in select locations called Google Fiber. So that could be why some people were originally confused with the Google Wi-Fi product on other or not they needed an ISP. Now, I also think it's important to point out that you do also need a working modem with your Nest Wi-Fi. The Nest Wi-Fi does not include a modem. Typically in an internet system there are 3 types: the service coming into your home from the ISP, a modem that acts as a translator between your device and your ISP's network, and then finally a Wi-Fi router which enables your devices to connect to the internet wirelessly. You can either take the modem provided to you by your ISP or go out and buy your own modem that's certified to run on your ISP's network. Now let's talk about what makes the Nest Wi-Fi system so different from your typical Wi-Fi router setup, and that it is a mesh Wi-Fi router setup. A mesh network allows you to add more points to the network to expand your Wi-Fi coverage to make sure that you get good Wi-Fi signal in your residence. One Nest Wi-Fi router will give you up to 2200 square feet of coverage. A setup with a Nest Wi-Fi router and a point will give you up to 3800 square feet. The points have another purpose. They can act as Google Assistant speakers. You use the top of the Wi-Fi point to control the Google Assistant. It's very similar to the controllers found on the Nest Mini, and the sound is greater on the Nest Wi-Fi point. It sounds better than a Nest Wi-Fi, has more bass, and overall I think it's pretty comparable to the Google Home speaker, but with a clearly sound in my experience. No, instead of lights at the top like you have with the Nest Mini, there is a really cool ring light at the bottom, and that will glow different colors for different assistant tasks like phone calls, being one mute, etc. Now I'm not going to go into everything the Google Assistant can do in this video, but if you are interested in learning more about the Google Assistant, make sure you check out a video that we did a couple of months ago on the Google Assistant. If you don't want to use Wi-Fi point as a Google Assistant speaker, no problem. You can simply mute the microphone and at the back of the device, which will physically disconnect the microphone from power. You can turn off the light at the bottom of the Nest Wi-Fi point in its setting in the Google Home app. Now, one last thing that I want to mention is if you are buying this system for somebody else in your family so you can help them manage their Wi-Fi network, and you want to be able to do that remotely, when you're setting up the Nest Wi-Fi system for your family member or friend, make sure that you did yourself as a member to their home in the Google Home app. When you are setting this thing up, that you will be able to remotely reset their Wi-Fi network as well as diagnose any issues that may be going on with their Nest Wi-Fi system. Alright, moving on. Now let's talk about something I don't like about the Nest Wi-Fi system. First is the power jack. Google changed the shape of the power jack with the Nest Wi-Fi system to a round shape, which makes it more of a pain to try to plug it into a power surge protector that already has a lot of things plugged into it. Also, I preferred what Google did with their Google Wi-Fi product, which was they had managers just for the Wi-Fi network versus having members of a home that have access to every single Google device you have in your home on the Google Home app. Now that the solution may not have been as simple as what Google did with the Nest Wi-Fi, I still think it was better. I just don't like the idea that in order to manage somebody else's Wi-Fi setup remotely, I need permissions that will be given full control over every device in their Google Home setup. I wish that they would provide better permissions controls here. Over the past 6 months, I have not experienced any issues with the my Nest Wi-Fi system. It is performed solidly. Considering I have about 40 plus devices on it at any given time. Alright, now let's move on the recommendations. Do I recommend the Nest Wi-Fi? Yes. It is a solid upgrade over the Google Wi-Fi system thanks to the new Wi-Fi points Google Assistant integration. How many should you get? I'd use Google tool on their website to help determine that and to keep in mind depending on the build of your house, how many stories, the building materials, how open the floor plan is. All of those can factor into many points and routers you may need in your setup. Now do note that if you don't care about the Nest Wi-Fi points and their Google Assistant functionality and you just want Wi-Fi routers, Google sells a pack. The Nest Wi-Fi system starts at $169 US and it's available in various colors and configurations on Google's website and at major retailers. If you liked this video and found it helpful, make sure you hit that thumbs up button below and subscribe to the channel to see more Google product related video and 6 months later reviews like this one. Well, that will do it for me. Please subscribe my channel and thanks for watching our video.